Somewhere in a hatchery right now, thousands of chicks are being sorted by sex within hours of hatching. The females get boxed up and shipped off to become future egg layers. The males, in most cases, never leave the building. Not because they're defective, not because there's anything wrong with them, just because they were born the wrong sex for the industry they were hatched into. Here's the part that trips people up. You've definitely eaten chicken, probably this week. Statistically, probably today. So the question isn't really, why don't we eat male chickens? Because we absolutely do, by the billions. The one nobody quite phrases correctly is why the male chicks born into egg farming specifically almost never make it to a plate at all. To understand that, you have to understand something most people never think about. There isn't really one kind of chicken. There are two, bred for two completely different jobs, and they don't overlap the way you'd assume. One line is the layer breed, bred over generations for a single purpose: produce as many eggs as physically possible with minimal feed. A modern layer hen can produce close to 300 eggs a year, an almost absurd number compared to her wild ancestor, the red jungle fowl, who lays maybe a dozen. But all that selective breeding came with a trade-off. Layer breeds are lean. They're built to put energy into eggs, not muscle, which means the males of this breed grow slowly, stay small, and simply don't put on enough meat to be worth raising commercially. A male layer chick, left to grow up, would eventually become a scrawny, tough, economically pointless bird, more skeleton than dinner. The other line is the broiler breed, bred for the exact opposite goal: put on as much muscle as possible as fast as possible. A broiler chicken reaches slaughter weight in about 6 weeks, a growth rate so fast it would be almost science fiction if it weren't sitting in your grocery store's meat aisle right now. To put that in perspective, a broiler chicken today reaches roughly 4 times the size of a chicken from the 1950s in about half the time. A shift almost entirely driven by selective breeding rather than anything added to the feed. And critically, broiler breeds are raised for meat regardless of sex. Both male and female broiler chicks get raised, both get eaten. This is the chicken you're actually thinking of when you picture a chicken breast or a drumstick. It was never a layer hen's brother. So the male chickens genuinely disappearing from the food system aren't chickens in general. They're specifically the male offspring of layer breeds, hatched purely as a byproduct of egg production, biologically unsuited for meat, and economically unsuited for anything else. Roughly 6 to 7 billion of them are culled globally every year, almost always within a day or two of hatching, because there's no efficient path forward for an animal bred to be lean when the industry has no use for lean. This is where the story gets uncomfortable, and it's worth sitting with for a second instead of rushing past it. For decades, the standard method of dealing with these male chicks was something the industry called maceration, essentially fast, high-speed grinding, or in some countries, gassing with carbon dioxide. Both methods are framed by the industry as quick and humane relative to the alternatives, and animal welfare researchers have spent years debating exactly how humane quick actually is when you're talking about newly hatched, fully conscious animals. It's not a pleasant fact, and no amount of industry framing makes it a pleasant fact. It's just been, for most of modern egg production's history, the default, and one most consumers had no idea was happening at all. Which raises the obvious question people eventually land on. Why not just raise the males for meat anyway, even if they're less efficient? The answer comes down to something almost mundane: feed conversion ratio. How many pounds of feed it takes to produce 1 pound of meat. A broiler breed might need under 2 pounds of feed per pound of meat gained. A layer breed male, built for laying adjacent efficiency rather than muscle, needs significantly more feed for significantly less usable meat, and takes far longer to get there. At industrial scale, across millions of birds, that gap isn't a rounding error. It's the difference between a profitable business and one that quietly goes bankrupt trying to be nice about it. This split didn't always exist, and that's worth remembering too. Go back a century, and most farms simply raised general-purpose chickens, birds that laid a reasonable number of eggs and grew into a reasonable amount of meat without being hyper-optimized for either. Nobody was culling male chicks at industrial scale in 1920, because nobody had yet bred a chicken so specialized at laying that its brothers became economically worthless. The problem wasn't an ancient one. It was manufactured, gradually, across decades of selective breeding aimed entirely at efficiency, with no one really planning for what would happen to the losing half of that equation. For a long time, that math seemed unbeatable. Then, starting in the 2010s, a handful of companies in Germany and France started asking a much stranger question. What if you didn't have to guess the sex at all? What if you could figure it out before the chick even hatched? Turns out you can. A technology called in ovo sexing lets producers determine a chick's sex days before hatching, either by sampling a tiny bit of fluid from the egg and testing hormone markers, or more recently, by using spectroscopy to essentially scan the egg and read the sex without opening it at all. If the egg is male, it gets removed and typically redirected to animal feed or other uses before a chick ever develops nervous system function capable of feeling anything. Germany and France both moved to ban chick culling outright in 2022, pushing the entire industry toward this technology almost overnight. Other countries have been slower to follow, partly because the scanning equipment is expensive to install at scale, and partly because, frankly, most consumers never knew this practice existed in the first place, which meant there was little public pressure pushing retailers to demand it. The United States, for context, still has no federal ban on chick culling as of now, and it remains the industry default across most of the country. There's actually a second, quieter fix some farms have tried too, something called dual-purpose breeds. Chickens bred to be reasonably good at both laying eggs and growing meat, rather than being hyper-specialized at either. It's a return, in a strange way, to how chickens were farmed before large-scale industrial breeding split the two jobs apart entirely. The trade-off is real. Dual-purpose birds lay fewer eggs than dedicated layers and grow slower than dedicated broilers, so they cost more to raise per unit of food produced. But they solve the male chick problem outright, because a dual-purpose male is still worth raising for meat. Some higher-end egg brands in Europe now market this explicitly, Brother Eggs or Roo-friendly eggs, where buying the carton also funds raising the male siblings for meat instead of culling them at birth. It costs more, sometimes noticeably more, and so far it remains a niche solution chosen by a small slice of consumers rather than an industry-wide standard. So the honest answer to why don't we eat male chickens isn't that we've collectively decided against it. It's that industrial chicken farming split into two specialized breeds decades ago, optimized so precisely for their individual jobs that the male half of one breed and the muscle-building talents of the other simply never line up. We built one chicken to lay and one chicken to grow, and somewhere in that split, an entire sex of one branch became a byproduct with no assigned purpose, not a decision made at your grocery store. A decision made generations of selective breeding ago, quietly baked into the genetics long before anyone with a shopping cart ever had a say in it. If this is the kind of thing hiding behind every grocery aisle you've ever walked, subscribe, because we dig up one of these every week.